If there was a belief I wanted you to shift in order for you to be successful in your health goals, here it is. Most people think feeling better is the finish line. It's not. It's the starting line. Write that down. The next time you start wavering on your health journey, and the next time you start getting a few results, and so you start letting your foot off the gas, here's what I want you to remember. Feeling better is not the finish line. It's the starting line. Yes, you get started to feel better, but you finish to serve. You finish to be obedient to your assignment. Feeling better is not the finish line. It's the starting line. What do I mean by that?
Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol Podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health.
We're talking about a very important topic today, 2 very significant milestones on your health journey that I want to cover today. And I want to cover these topics because it is the primary reason people fail. It's the primary reason people don't accomplish their health goals. And so I want to make sure I'm crystal clear today to prepare you guys for what's coming next in our health, right? In order to optimize our lifestyles, in order to optimize and be on assignment, i.e. radically obedient to what we're called to do, there's just some stuff we got to fix in our health, y'all. There's just some stuff we got to do better to be healthier from the neck down to the neck up. So in 2016, I'm going to tell y'all a story. In 2016, I gave up sugar, okay? No. It wasn't 2016. It was 2019, okay? So 2016 was right around the time I was starting my own personal plant-based journey. And I was starting my own plant-based journey, going vegan, giving up animal products. And then it wasn't until the top of 2019 that I decided to give up sugar. And the reason I decided to give up sugar is because I was completely thinking that health was all about animal products and health was all about what you remove from your diet. And I had to go a couple steps further because I noticed that every time I got on stage, every time I had a speaking engagement, every time I had a coaching engagement, if I had had sugar the day before or the night before, I inevitably would lose my memory, right? So this is what started happening. I would inevitably lose my memory if I had sugar the night before. And so at the top of 2019, I decided to do something about it. And so at the top of 2019, I gave up sugar and it really changed the game. Now, what's really important about my journey though, is that when I gave up sugar, remember I said I was having memory losses, memory lapses. I had already lost weight. And so I was also trying to maintain a healthy weight. And I think I wanted to lose a few more pounds. So I was motivated by additional weight loss. I was motivated by retaining my memory. And I also noticed every time I consumed sugar that I had lethargic, I was lethargy, right? Experiencing lethargy, should I say. And so I would get tired on a regular basis. And that was a great motivator to not eat any more sugar, right? It was very easy. It was very easy to stop consuming sugar because I was sick of being tired. I was sick of losing my memory and having gaps in my memory. And I wanted to maintain a healthy weight, healthy body weight. And so it was very easy to give up sugar initially. But here's what happened, and here's what happens to almost all of us. When we start a journey, the thing that we have to give up for our goals, the things that we have to start doing for our health goals are typically fairly easy, right? Typically they're fairly easy. It's because you're in pain, you're in suffering, you're in an undesirable circumstance. And so giving up the things or starting the things, starting the exercise, starting to drink water, starting to eat fruits and vegetables is a little easier in the beginning because you're in an undesirable circumstance. You're in a place of discomfort, a place of dysfunction, and you want things to be a little different. You want things to look different. You want things to feel different. And so here's what I noticed on my personal health journey and then on other people's journey as I coached them through it. What I began to notice was getting started became extremely easy. But maintaining that momentum and finishing became increasingly difficult. Has anybody else ever experienced this? Like, it's easy to get started on my health journey, Lisa. I can start really well. I come out the gate really hard and fast, but it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain that momentum once I get started. So the two milestones that I want to break down for you really quickly today are starting is one milestone and finishing is another milestone. Starting is one challenge. Finishing is a whole nother challenge. And I want to tell you why we start, what's required to start, and I want to tell you what's required to finish, because they are two totally separate strategies. Let me tell y'all something. The things that I'm about to share with you about what was required for me to start my journey and what was required for me to finish my journey, and the same for thousands of people I've helped over the years, this was the game changer for me. Like, understanding this fundamental idea of what's required to start and what's required to finish changed everything for me. And so let me tell you why it's so easy for us to start, okay? It's so easy for us to start for one primary reason. And that primary reason essentially is because we're typically in a state of pain, suffering, discomfort, dysfunction. Starting requires one simple thing: emotions. Starting requires emotion. So it's been my experience year over year over year, helping hundreds of people, helping thousands of people, helping person over person, and starting with myself, and then helping my team, and then helping our clients and our programs. It's so easy to start when you have an emotional attachment to the reason you're starting. So for many of us, we start because we're hurting. We're starting because we're disappointed. We're starting because we're insecure. We're starting because we don't feel good. We're starting because it's uncomfortable to live in our bodies every single day with that stomach pain, with those headaches, with pain and aches and pains and just imbalance in the body. It's just much easier to start when you are imbalanced. And so what I have found is that the thing that gets us all out of the starting gate and into the race is emotion. So this week I was speaking for Wayne State University, right? And I was speaking to a class about entrepreneurship. And during this class, I was telling them what's required to start a business, right? And I was telling them that most businesses are born out of emotion. Many businesses start because the founder is angry about something. The founder is passionate about something. The founder is dissatisfied about something. So they see an inefficiency in the way something is done and they want to solve that problem. For me, I started from a place of anger because I saw so many inequities in Western medicine for people of color. And so for many entrepreneurs, is what I was telling this class on Tuesday at Wayne State University, we start our businesses because we're emotional. Like, we're either angry, disappointed, dissatisfied, upset, whatever it is. And we start our businesses from an emotional place. However, emotions will not sustain you in entrepreneurship, just like it won't sustain you in health. And so let me tell you one of the biggest discoveries about the health journey. And that is, the majority of people can start, but they have a hard time finishing because human nature says we do enough to feel better, but we rarely do enough to maximize our contribution to society. So if you start, because I know for me, I was overweight, and so it was insecurities. I was literally uncomfortable in my body, carrying excess weight. I was self-conscious in my body when I was 60 pounds heavier. And so it was easier to start because I wanted to feel better, right? And so the average person, they do enough to feel better, but they rarely do enough to maximize their contribution to society. I'm going to say it a different way. We do enough to improve our personal circumstances, but not enough to improve the circumstances of others. This is what it takes to start. We're willing to do enough to improve our personal circumstances, but we don't quite do enough to improve the circumstances of others. So let me break this down for you. This is why we lose momentum. This is why we stop when we're no longer in pain. This is why we stop when we've lost most of the weight. This is why we stop when we're sleeping better. This is why we stop when the headaches have went away. This is why we stop eating as clean, stop exercising as hard, stop drinking as much water, right? When our stomach issues have subsided, because we are willing to do enough to feel better and improve our personal circumstances, but rarely do we have the mindset to do enough to improve the circumstances and the outcomes for other people. It is very easy to start. So the very first milestone on any health journey is the milestone of starting, because we know a whole bunch of people never start. So it is a big deal to start. Don't get me wrong, but it's easier to start because you're usually starting from an emotional place. I'm going to tell you the top 2 emotions we see people use as motivation in our programs, Farm to Table, and in our challenge, our 30-day vegan challenge. I would say the top 2 emotions that people use to get started is number 1, defiance. Defiance. And you guys tell me if you can relate to this. The first emotion that I noticed that drives a lot of people to start their journey is defiance. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by defiance. A lot of times our clients come to us, or our participants in our 30-day vegan challenge, they start because they're like, Lisa, I went to the doctor and the doctor told me that my numbers were creeping up. I was pre-diabetic, I'm pre-hypertensive, and they're threatening to put me on medication. Lisa, I went to the doctor and the doctor found this and they found that, and they want me to take an aspirin every day, or they want me to take these supplements. So they want to start with a new healthy lifestyle, with a new exercise regimen because of defiance. They're like, I told that doctor I refuse to take a medication. I refuse to take another pill. I refuse to come in here and have to get shots every couple of weeks or every couple of months. So a lot of people start from a place of defiance. That's the emotion that fuels their motivation to get started, right? They're just like, I left out of there and I told the doctor, I made an agreement. I told them, give me 3 months, give me 6 months. And if things don't change, then we can revisit the conversation. Defiance is such a motivator, right? Like some of you guys, you step on the scale and you like, wait a minute. Over the last 6 months or over the last year, I've gained this much. No. These pounds ain't gonna go up another inch. Or I put on some jeans that I used to be able to fit really well, and now they're a little too tight. It's defiance. Like, because I refuse, Lisa, to buy a bigger size jeans, right? So it's like, let's get it. And so a lot of people are motivated by defiance. That is one of the biggest emotions that I see that's easy for people to use to get started. The other one is fear. When it comes to our health journey, we typically start with emotions because of emotions. The first top one I see is defiance. The second one is fear. So we also get people who come in and they say, I'm at the age that my mom was at when she died of a heart attack. We have men that come in and say, I'm at the age that my dad was at when he died of a stroke. I'm at the age that my mom was at when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, right? And so they're afraid of succumbing to the same fate as someone that was close to them or someone they love. So a lot of times we also see people get started. The milestone that kicks off their journey is this fear or defiance, right? It is, I don't want to succumb to the same fate as my mom, as my dad, as my grandparents. My doctor threatened me with a medication or a supplement, and I don't want to have to put that stuff in my body, right? So our starting is fueled by motivation. But unfortunately, a lot of us have a hard time maintaining and staying on the journey for a whole nother reason. And I'm going to tell you why. And it is because of diminishing returns. So emotions encourage us to take action. But where we go wrong is not recognizing that what it takes to finish is something totally different. So let me tell you guys what it takes to finish. Okay, so I told you guys what it typically starts to get started, right? We're in a state of pain or suffering or discomfort or dysfunction or defiance or fear, right? So we might not be physically diagnosed with anything yet. We might not be in a state of, hurting or pain and suffering every day, but a doctor tells us something. Or we look at our own family history and realize we might be at the risk of succumbing to the same fate as a parent. And so that fear or that defiance kickstart our journey. Now, because of diminishing returns, which means the further we go on our health journey and the better we start to feel, the harder it is to continue to get extraordinary results. So the closer you get to your ideal weight, the more and more you start sleeping better, the more energy you have every single day, the more mental clarity you have, like 6, 8, 12 months into that, it's hard to wake up for some people and have the exact same energy, momentum, and excitement about eating right and exercising and sleeping different and eliminating chronic stress as you had 12 months prior when you were feeling horrible. So that's the law of diminishing returns, right? It's an economic law that tells us like it is very hard to garner the same benefits from the same input at a certain point in time, right? You start experiencing diminishing returns. So if it takes emotions to start, it takes emotional intelligence to finish. If it takes emotions to start, fear, defiance, anger, insecurities, self-consciousness. If it takes emotions to start, it takes emotional intelligence to finish. Some of you guys cannot seem to lose the weight and keep it off. Some of you guys cannot seem to develop a healthy relationship with food. Some of us cannot seem to stay off the medication, stay off the supplements, stay out of the doctor's appointments because we lack emotional intelligence, which means our emotions worked in our favor when it was time to kickstart our journey, but they worked against us when it was time to maintain our journey. I don't know if you guys know much about like rockets or whatever, but I remember learning several years ago that for a rocket to get launched out into space, it uses about 50% of its fuel. Does anybody know this? I'm no rocket scientist. I'm just a coach who dropped out of pre-med. But what I did learn in this little bit that I was listening to that I clearly understood was when they said, in order to launch a rocket into space, okay, it uses 50% of its fuel just to get off the ground. And it uses the other 50% of its fuel to maintain its time in space. Okay. If we wanted to translate that to our health journey or just our journey on accomplishing our own personal goals, what we're talking about here is activation energy. So it takes more energy to activate. It takes more energy to get up and get active than it does to maintain that activity level, right? And so emotions are great because emotions are like the best rocket fuel. Emotions are the best jet fuel. Like they will launch you into a health journey like you've never seen before. You'll be burning a motor out of that treadmill, right? Because honey, I'm sick of looking in the mirror and not liking what I see. However, emotional intelligence is what's required to maintain your time and space. So what happens is when we start feeling better, when we are sleeping better, when we now have more energy throughout the day, right? When we're eliminating properly, when our skin starts clearing up, when the painful periods have went away, when erectile dysfunction has went away, when we now feel like we got a control over our eating habits, what maintains us now? Because the emotion is that we're not angry anymore. We're not as defiant anymore. We're not as insecure anymore. Like we're feeling good about ourselves. Like our confidence is starting to creep back up. Like we're feeling like we're back in control of things. Emotional intelligence is now what maintains you. It's the emotion that got you started. But then it is the, I don't feel like it as much anymore. Or maybe you hit a rough patch at work and you're overwhelmed and you're stressed. Or maybe life starts to life and some unexpected things starts to happen in life. How do you then continue to eat right? How do you continue to eat right when you're stressed out? How do you continue to eat right when you're overwhelmed? How do you continue to eat right when you're sad? What if you experienced a breakup or what if you experienced a loss? Emotional intelligence is what maintains the momentum that you created when you shot out into space. It is now, do you have the emotional maturity to feel stressed, feel overwhelmed, feel sad, feel depressed, feel anxious, and still eat plants, drink water, go to bed at a good time, eliminate chronic stress and not just manage it? Do you still have the emotional regulation to do everything that you were willing to do when you started? If it takes emotions to start, if emotions are your jet fuel, it is emotional intelligence that is going to maintain your time and space. The reason you are not crossing the finish line when it comes to your health goals, the reason you are not hitting that second milestone, which is finishing, is because you have a low EQ. That is why. Because soon as life starts to life, soon as there's one ripple in the plan, soon as things don't go the way you had planned for them to go, You don't have enough emotional regulation to still do what you know you're supposed to be doing. Like, I don't think I'm an anomaly because I was able to lose weight. I think I'm an anomaly because I was able to keep it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lost 60 plus pounds years ago, but the reason I'm still at a healthy weight today is because of emotional regulation. Like, I was not in the best mood this morning and I still got up and hit the gym for over an hour. It didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter how I felt. It mattered what I knew I was responsible for. I'm going to end this way. And I'm going to tell you guys, one of the biggest challenges people have, and I wrote something down. I was writing my book this morning and it was so good that I wanted to quote it to you guys verbatim. I said, most people think, if there was a belief I wanted you to shift in order for you to be successful in your health goals, here it is. Most people think feeling better is the finish line. It's not. It's the starting line. Write that down. The next time you start wavering on your health journey, and the next time you start getting a few results, and so you start letting your foot off the gas, here's what I want you to remember. Feeling better is not the finish line. It's the starting line. Yes, you get started to feel better, but you finish to serve. You finish to be obedient to your assignment. Feeling better is not the finish line. It's the starting line. What do I mean by that? If you guys are part of our 30-day vegan challenge, there's an assignment that we give you guys in the VIP portal. And the name of that assignment is Give Your Health an Assignment. And essentially what that means is, in order for you to successfully put whatever you're dealing with in remission, in order for you to successfully lose weight and keep it off, in order for you to successfully beat anxiety, depression, memory loss, reproductive health issues, in order for you to successfully beat that, you have to give your health an assignment, which means your health cannot just be responsible for making you feel better. Your health has to be responsible for improving the lives of someone else. So in the beginning, I told you guys, I gave up sugar at the top of 2019, right? It was easy for me to give up the sugar because I was having lapses in my memory. I didn't want to gain more weight. I was tired all the time. Sugar does all that. It dehydrates you. My skin was looking dry. It was easy to give up sugar because I wanted my skin to glow. I wanted to maintain my slim waistline, and I was sick of losing my memory. However, what happened 6-8 months in after giving up sugar? Not just 6-8 months in, it's 2024. I gave it up in 2019. Why am I still sugar-free today? Why am I not saying, well, I'm at a healthy weight. My skin is fine. I can afford a little bit. I'll tell you why. Because I gave my health an assignment. My health is now no longer just responsible for making me feel good. It's responsible for making you guys feel good. The reason I can come on here every Monday with a clear mind, with a new topic, and teach and speak is because I have mental clarity. It's because I'm not insecure in front of the camera. My skin is looking good. I'm proud of my waistline that I've been able to maintain for years. My health is no longer responsible just for me. I've given my health an assignment and it is responsible for you. My gift is speaking. My gift is teaching. My gift is coaching. It's my gift. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at speaking. I'm very good at teaching. I'm phenomenal at it. However, I cannot allow sugar to compromise the assignment. So the reason I've been able to maintain my sugar-free status, even after I felt better, is because I realized that my health was not just responsible for me, it's responsible for the 1,183 people we got registered for this challenge. Like, my health is responsible for more than me. So I'm going to say this part again so that we are crystal clear. Where you guys go wrong with your health journey is you thought going in that simply feeling better was the finish line. You thought soon as you felt better, you were done. But feeling better is not the finish line. It's the starting line. Yes, you get started to feel better, but you finish to serve. You start to feel better, but you finish to be in service to other people. Emotions get you started. You finish with obedience. So you were in a state of pain and suffering. You were overweight and insecure. You weren't sleeping good. You had gastrointestinal issues. You had headaches. You had neuropathy. You were dehydrated. You were irregular. You had reproductive health issues. You had painful periods. You had erectile dysfunction. You had flare-ups from autoimmune conditions. You name it. I should do, they talking about beans, but I should do a health one. You name it. You had all the issues. And so it makes sense that you started. You want to know why it makes sense that you started? Because it's human nature to move when we're in pain. That's rule number one, self-preservation, right? It was so easy for you to start because you were so insecure in your body. It was so easy for you to start because you were being threatened with 2 more medications. It was so easy for you to start because human nature says if we're in pain, we move. But when you're out of pain, what keeps you moving? For some of you, you have not locked into your assignment. The reason you stop is because you're addicted to disobedience. So the moment you wrap your mindset around this concept of being radically obedient to your assignment, you will realize feeling better is just the starting line. What is the starting line to? Feeling better is the starting line to that book you were supposed to write. Feeling better is the starting line to the nonprofit you were supposed to start. Feeling better is the starting line to the family you wanted to be healthy enough for. Feeling better is the starting line to the podcast you was been supposed to launch. Feeling better is the starting line to the coaching program that's been waiting on you to get back to it, that's collecting dust on the shelf. Feeling better is your starting line. You now have enough energy for your 9 to 5 and your 5 to 9. You now can sleep through the night so you can think clearly. Y'all keep quitting when you feel better because you thought feeling better was the finish line. It is the starting line. So emotions get you started. Emotional intelligence is how you finish. Those are 2 separate milestones. Being in a state of pain and suffering is how you start. Obedience is why you finish. Okay? So I think I made it clear. Listen, Linwood, him and his wife have a coaching program for other couples. What would happen if he stopped his health journey just when he started feeling better, but he didn't maintain that feeling to be in service to other people? Now you yo-yoing back and forth. The scale always going up and down. The medications always going up and down. Your numbers always going up and down. You can't even maintain it long enough to do what God told you to do. Do you know your yo-yoing in your health is playing in God's face? That man gave you an assignment long ago. You still ain't turned your assignment in. What? What is we doing? Be obedient. So stop thinking that feeling better is the finish line. Oh, I got the weight off. I guess I can afford to go drink like I ain't got no sense again. I guess I can afford to get back in these drive-thrus now that I know how to lose the weight. It's so crazy to me. Your personal longevity and well-being, that's just a human right. You just getting back to baseline when you feel better. You ain't done nothing exceptional. You weren't even meant to ever have a cold. You weren't meant to have cancer. You weren't meant to have diabetes. You weren't meant to be overweight. That's getting back to baseline once you feel better, when you get the disease out of your body, when you get the disease out of your mind. Like, that's baseline. You ain't even started running a race yet. You just walking up to the mark. That feeling better is the starting line. It's not the finish line. So once y'all understand that, like, they don't even pop the gun off for the race to start until you feel better. Y'all really thought y'all was on y'all Noah Lyles swag. Y'all really thought y'all was on y'all Sha'Carri Richardson swag. Like, yeah, feel better, cross the finish line. No, you ain't even in a race yet. When you unwell, you not even in a race, fam. Those of us that are optimal in 12 out of 10, we running radically obedient circles around y'all. Cause y'all sitting somewhere tired all the time. Y'all sitting somewhere you can't even compete in the marketplace cause you always sick. Cause you always tired. You always exhausted. You always eating your feelings. I remember saying one time I had did a business podcast, and I remember saying one time, y'all think my competitive advantage is my marketing and the quality of our products and services. My competitive advantage is how healthy I am. I feel so confident in being able to snatch the market share from my competitor just because I eat well, I sleep well, I exercise well, I have emotional intelligence. Like, my competitive advantage in the marketplace in my business is my health. I dare somebody who don't feel good try and compete with me. I triple dog dare you. So I don't know why y'all think feeling better is the finish line. It's the starting line. Okay. So we start because we're in a state of pain and suffering, or we have an emotional experience, defiance, fear, whatever it is. But emotional intelligence is how we finish. Okay. We start for selfish reasons. We finish for selfless reasons. We start for selfish reasons. We finish for selfless reasons. Okay. So please stop believing that as soon as you lose a couple pounds, you can be out in these streets. You can't. Get back in the house and finish them sit-ups. You ain't done. You think I've been able to survive 10 years in entrepreneurship just off my skill and talent? No, it's because I do these squats and lunges. It's because I am sharp. Like, did you know your legs was attached to how great your brain work? Your leg strength is attached to the function of your mind. I was in the gym this morning doing squats and lunges and all the things. Why? Because you're not about to outsmart me. I'm going to keep dropping these bars. You're not going to out-wordplay me. You think my sweetness on the mic is just because I'm just so talented? Nope. It's because I work quads and hamstrings. Go ahead and look it up. This is in the science around Alzheimer's. They show if you want to make your brain sharper as you age and avoid dementia, work on your legs. I should be your coach. Like, you should invest in me because I work legs. You ever ask your coach if they work their legs and they not a fitness coach? You ever ask your business coach, yo, I'm just concerned about the health of your brain. How often you do legs? That's what y'all need to be asking when you hiring coaches. How often do they work legs? You feel me? I promise you, I'm going to be the sweetest you ever hired. I'm going to be the sweetest who ever shared the stage with you. Why? Because of my health is a competitive advantage. So y'all got to stop thinking that just feeling better is the finish line. It's not. Listen, that's what I wanted to share with y'all today. The 2 milestones that are required to be like really successful on your health journey. The first milestone is starting, which usually takes an emotional experience. The second milestone is finishing, which takes an assignment, which takes obedience. And most importantly, it requires emotional intelligence. The topic I have for you next week is we're going to go deeper on obedience. I'm going to share with you a conversation that I had with someone recently. And I want to talk deeper about obedience next week. And so if you need obedience to be your motivator for the challenge, then you need to be back here next Monday. I'm going to give you guys my framework for what makes obedience radical. So I haven't taught you guys this yet before, but I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out the bag. Okay. So I taught it to my clients in our mastermind, my mastermind clarity, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So next Monday, I'm going to break down, if you guys are curious about this concept of radical obedience, I'm going to break down the framework for you next Monday. And so you will know the difference between obedience and radical obedience, and share a story that I had from a conversation that I had with someone last week that I think is going to resonate with you, a lot of you guys, around assignments and obedience, and that I hopefully really start locking in the importance of us going extra hard in our health, eliminating moderation, eliminating all the excuses that we give ourselves for not going hard in our health, and doing everything we can to be the most optimal version of ourselves. And so love you guys to life. I'll see you back here in 7 days. Bye, y'all.
You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.